Mixing documentary and fiction kind of says that nothing is sacred. I think there are opportunities when it comes to race to laugh a little about something that for many years we've been fighting and crying over.
This is Mary Webster, occupation housewife. Normal occupation, that is. Now, Mary belongs to an army 160,000 strong. Once every 10 years, she comes to your house, she or one of her fellow enumerators. Their task? Operation Roll Call, USA.
Cherokee. My mother's people were ashamed of me. The Indians said that I was white by law. The white man always called me Indian squaw. Half-breed.
I think after 300 and some years, it's time we re-examine the meaning of race in American culture.
Statistical Policy Office to allow multiple race on the 2000 census was a very
racism as still an issue. If you looked a particular way, that was supposedly the race that you should choose.
Well, I want Americans to move beyond classifying each other according to race and ethnicity.
Beautiful, wonderful.
Let's now push towards doing away with the boxes altogether.
Folks, keep up their guard and keep counting.
Answer the census, we're counting on you.
Strange. To wake up and find yourself up for a debate. That's what happened to me just the other morning. I woke up to find it was a brand new day in America. Everybody looked the same, but everything seemed, well, different. For a moment, I was confused. I thought I'd died and gone to Berkeley. But then I read the news. Today was the big day. I had to either stand up and be counted as black.
I'm black and I'm me. Now who you gonna be?
Or join forces with this new group, affectionately known as the Mulatto Nation.
Mulattoes unite! Take back the white! Mulattoes!
A powerful new political force, complete with its own share of extremists.
You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled. Kick those crackers to the curb. Have yourself a bean pie.
I watched from a distance, unsure whether to join the festivities or head back to bed.
Hey, ho, ho! The one-drop rule has got to go! Come back to the 5 and dime here. Let's show your mama some love. Right on!
Why have you left the tribe? Why have you forsaken your people?
I had already filled out the census and sent it in, but then somebody came to my door. She asked me the race question, and I think I said other Asian. I checked off other Asian, and then I asked her to put biracial in a line. She said, biracial? I said, yes, biracial. I spelled it for her. She said, what country is that?
When I received my 1990 census form, I just realized that there wasn't a place on the form for my children's races. And wanting to do the right thing as a good American citizen, I called the Census Bureau just like anyone else would.
San Francisco, hold for conference.
And the gentleman told me that he didn't really know what I should do. Finally, he said, we've got the answer. I talked to a supervisor. The children take the race of the mother. And I said, well, why not the father? Why arbitrarily the mother? And his voice became very hushed, and he said, because in cases like these, we always know who the mother is, and we don't know who the father is.
Classification of man into 5 races based on skin color wasn't at all satisfactory. Many individuals didn't have the right coloring to go with their alleged race. One racial classification lists 3 major races: Caucasian, Mongoloid, and Negroid, plus a doubtful category for those that don't seem to fit anywhere else.
The 2000 census was our first census to actually allow respondents to self-identify, and they could in fact identify one or more races.
They want to throw white children and colored children into the melting pot of integration.
How do you tell a white mother and a black father that their child has to be in one of those two categories? It's hard to say that. You've got to say, they want to say, we want to make this child a multiple race because that's what he or she is.
So out of which will come a conglomerated, mulatto, mongrel class of people.
By allowing respondents to report more than one race, we ended up with about 15 categories of 2, about 20 categories of 3, 15 categories of 4 races, about 15 categories of 5, and 1 category of 6, where a person could say that they were white, they were black, they were American Indian, they were Asian, they were Native Hawaiian, and they were some other race.
Both races will be destroyed in such a movement.
Before all this racial ambiguity, I was a black girl. Not your average black girl, if such a thing exists, but a black girl with a Korean mother, black father, Native American grandfather, and a Mexican aunt.
We said, what would it be like for the people who were multiracial to identify themselves to the nation so that tragic mulatto syndrome was not the call of the day?
This kind of data is used for civil rights enforcement, it's used for political redistricting, and it's used for allocating government resources. So we urge black New Yorkers to just check black or check black only on the census form so that our numbers would not get diffused in the count.
We're considered muddying the waters by distinguishing ourselves as mixed race, multiracial, biracial, and that we need to take a stand. Well, we are taking a stand. We're taking a stand that our right to self-identify is crucial.
We ought to have had this dialogue, this debate, outside of the context of the census, because the census information is crucial, not because it's really trying to hide the fact that there's changes in America, but because it's trying to provide federal services and protections to communities who need it the most.
The Europeans who were involved in the transatlantic slave trade, you're using their racial classification system, which essentially said that Africans were subhuman, and therefore we had every right, according to God, to subjugate them. You're using that same stupid racial classification system nowadays in order to promote a particular political agenda, and I think it's wrong.
What I don't want to see happen is the count of African Americans in the United States of America to go down from 35 million, where it is now, to 32 million, because 3 million of us wanted to get cute with some government